Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Bill. This is the channel Rust to Resurrection. Today, I wanted to give you a couple project updates. One involves this old manure spreader that we had talked about, and the other involves the 1946 Willys CJ2A. Let's talk about this manure spreader first. I sort of posed the question, would this be something that I could restore and you guys would be interested in? Well, I got a bunch of mixed reactions to that question. I had a couple of three people say, absolutely, we would love to see you restore that. I had another two or three people say, what are you thinking? So it's an interesting decision. I haven't decided whether I'm going to restore this thing or not. Listen, hear that wind? I apologize for that. We have had 2 days of wet, cold, rainy weather here in New England. Today's the first day that's sunny. The clouds are beginning to roll in again. But the trade-off is today's the first good day I can get out here and do this, but the wind's blowing. So I'm going to try to make this as clear as I can. So my apologies for that. Now back to this. So I don't know that I'm going to restore this, but I did mention that this would be a really good project for learning new skills. Now, in one of my earlier videos, I talked about wanting to learn new skills. There's so many things so many opportunities to learn new stuff on this that I may end up just doing some of this. But anyway, so I did some research on this spreader. I've owned it for 40 years and I didn't know anything about it. It was a spreader and it just did what it was supposed to do. I repaired it when I had to repair it. Now, what this is a McCormick Deering Model 100 spreader. It's a smaller spreader. They made a 200 and they made a 100, which is for small farms, small tractors. So anyway, this was designed to be hauled behind a little cub tractor, and it's sized about right for that. So it's actually, again, not knowing what I had when I bought it, this is cute as hell. But so it was designed to be hauled behind a cub. Now, I did a lot of research and just preparing for this video. I was just curious what this thing was because I didn't know what it was. It was, like I said, it was just a spreader. So I did some research, and here's, yeah. I did some research. Now I have to put my glasses on because I'm old and I can't see crap. So there were several sources of information that actually kind of surprised me how easy it turned out to be to find. Again, we've already talked about this is a McCormick Deering. It is a 100 or Model 100 spreader. And it was built between 1942, or these were built between 1942 and 1955. And I think if I remember right, they made somewhere around 1,500 of them total. Also, doing my research, I found out the Wisconsin Historical Society had a whole bunch of catalogs on this thing. So I was able to get a lot of really great information from their website, as well as the Small Farmers Journal. They have the complete plans for this on their website. So you can really get deep into how these things are built and maintained. I also discovered that a lot of people apparently are restoring these things because you can also get replacement decals for this. Who would have thought you could get replacement decals for an old manure spreader? But apparently you can. Now, if I do the restoration, I'll do a more detailed walk around because there's a lot of things that are missing. So for instance, every one of these gear systems is supposed to have a guard around them, and the guard is missing. And it's a little unclear to me whether that's supposed to be painted red or white. I've seen them in a couple different configurations. Same over here. This gear set is supposed to have a big guard over it. And for any of you who watched the first video on this, I talked about the tires being inflated. Well, this tire is starting to go flat. So apparently it was happy when it was in the dirt, but now that I've rolled it out, it is starting to lose air, which is okay. So briefly, I want to talk about some of the opportunities here that are available for learning. For instance, these are not supposed to be there. I got them here and I got one over there. They weren't supposed to be there. They were crudely welded on. So stuff like that would have to change. You know, we've got some rust down in here. That could be repaired. So that would be an interesting sheet metal project for me to do. Same thing here. This sheet metal is here. It's broken. It's missing. I could reconstruct this. It's missing the one that goes over there. So there's a lot of metal work or metal opportunity that is available on this thing. Just as something to learn from, to learn new skills from. We talked about that. Same down in here. This entire lower strip of sheet metal is all rusted out, so we would have to replace that. There's an angle iron frame that this sheet metal rests down inside, so that's an opportunity. I'd have to completely reconstruct this top beater bar. Everything is missing. I mean, I've got enough that it's available that I can get a good sense of what needs to be reconstructed. I would have to rebuild these or remake these out of steel, so there's some opportunity there as well. Anyway, so do I do this? I don't know, but here's what I'm going to do today. I am going to take a mixture of ATF and acetone 50-50 mix that I've been using in my gunsmithing work forever. There's a big, again, controversy is everywhere. There are people who say this doesn't work. There are people who say it's the best thing since sliced bread. I don't swear by it, but I do know that if I get this going on some stuck screws or bolts early enough, that it does tend to make it easier later on to get these stuck screws on these old firearm receivers loose. Sometimes I have to add a little bit of heat, but between the ATF and the heat, I generally have some pretty good results getting old stuck screws out. So what I'm going to do before we go to the second update is I'm going to go around and I'm going to add some ATF to a lot of the bolts that, if I do restore this, are going to have to come out. And I figure, you know what, I can do this over the next several weeks. And when the decision gets made to restore it, at least at that point, I'm ahead of the game. So stay with me as I run around this spreader and adding that ATF to all of those bolts and screws that are going to have to come out. Boy, I'm telling you, some of those are pretty rough. I don't know how some of those are even going to come out. So I'll tell you what, boys and girls, because my analytics tells me that 6% of you are females. And if you're out there, you're female, just say hi, okay? Glad to have you here. Anyway, this thing is pretty rough. As I go around it, and I go, oh my God. So the challenge would be huge. The challenge would be great. And we can bring it back to life, I suppose. But so I'm certainly thinking, what am I getting myself into if I do this? All right, guys, let's go up and look at the CJ2. So the next update has to do with adding this USB charging unit to the dashboard of that Jeep. This USB charger that I bought, I got this off from Amazon. It's a USB and USB-C, so it has 3 ports that you can use. Now, when I read the reviews on these, there were so many comments from people who either loved them or hated them. Some of the comments were that they either work or they don't work. My friend Mark Houlihan, he commented the same thing. He says, I've tried many times, or I've put many of these in. Sometimes they work, they don't work, you throw them away and you put in another one. That seems to be somewhat wasteful for me, but considering the price of these, I guess I get it. This was $17 on Amazon. So it's all aluminum, it's a negative ground, so it's a standard electrical system on this thing. After reading all of the comments about the quality of these things, this is made in China. Everything's made in China now. God bless America that we don't build anything anymore. But in my airplane, or in our airplane, we had the same USB charging system put into the airplane, and we had installed something called a Stratus, or the company, the maker is Stratus. And I thought, well, let me go look at Stratus and see what that's going to cost. And the Stratus USB charger is $400 because it's all shielded. So in the airplane, you don't want any interference from any electronics, one electronic to the other. So for the nav system or for any of the other radios in the airplane, you don't want any interference. So it's all the cables. The cables were all shielded. so the price goes up. Anything with airplanes, the price goes way up. This thing is going to go into this hole. I got to drill it out a little bit. The hole is there, and I can drill this out. It simply locks in from the back. So we'll do that. The cable is pretty short, but this thing is designed for direct connection to the battery. I don't know how I feel about that yet. So I may end up, I don't know if I want to wire it to the switch, or just do what this is and wire it direct to the battery. I suppose temporarily, just to get this started, we can go to the battery. I'm not doing this today, but this is just an update on what I end up finding and buying. I'm not sure the cable is even long enough for where it's got to go. I may have to modify this. This has a fusible link, so if anything goes haywire, supposedly it's a glass fuse, old-fashioned glass fuse. So the glass fuse is supposed to kick out. All right, guys, that's my update. More projects coming. Got some fun things that I'm working on. Everything, I got to put in a new speedometer. That's coming. I don't know when that's coming. I still got to put those powder-coated pedals in the MB. And I'm going to build a toolbox for the back of this Jeep so that I can carry, jacks and other things, because I do want to take this thing off-road into the woods, and I don't want to get stuck out there. So I'm going to get some basic tools in here so that I can carry those in the woods. I'm also going to put an upholstered seat cover on it, and I'm trying to talk my wife into helping me on that on camera, so we'll see how that all goes. But that's some projects that we've got coming in the future. So if you enjoy the channel, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are trying to grow this beyond 1,000 subs. Great comments from all of you guys. The support you've given me up to this point is marvelous. So I will see you guys in the next video. You may also find it interesting that this has a name on Amazon. And believe it or not, the name of this charger, whether it's the company that made it or just the name of the charger, is actually Happy Trip. Yeah, go figure. Happy Trip is the name of this charger. Fun stuff.